These 5 people are amongst the greatest quiz players in Britain. Together they make up the Eggheads, arguably the most formidable quiz team in the country. The question is, can they be beaten? Hello and welcome to Eggheads, the show where a team of 5 quiz challengers must try to beat arguably the greatest quiz team in Britain. Our Eggheads are clever, they're confident, and between them they've the most impressive TV quiz credentials in the country. Please welcome our dream team.
Hello, my name's Judith Keppel and I was the first person in Britain to win £1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Hello, I'm Kevin Ashman and I currently hold the record for the highest ever score on Mastermind with no passes.
Hello, I'm CJ Demouy and I've won shows on The Weakest Link, 15 to 1 and 100%.
Hello, I'm Daphne Fowler. I've over 20 years experience on TV quiz shows and I've won the grand final of 15 to 1 twice.
Hello, I'm Chris Hughes and I'm still International Mastermind Champion.
Well, taking on the might of the Eggheads today are a quiz team from Essex, the Motormen, and the team all work together at a well-known car manufacturer in Aveley. Let's meet them.
Hello, I'm Paul and I'm 43.
Hello, I'm Alan C and I'm 47.
I'm Alan N and I'm 40 years old.
I'm Chris and I'm 50.
And I'm Kevin and I'm 47.
Let's just hope you're good at quizzes because you really do have your work cut out taking on this lot. Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
OK, well, let me tell you, every day there is £1,000 worth of cash up for grabs for our challengers. However, if they fail to defeat our Eggheads, the prize money will roll over to the next show. So, challengers, £1,000 says that you cannot beat the Eggheads. The Motormen will take on an Egghead of their choosing. Now, the loser of each head-to-head challenge will not be allowed to play in the final round. Obviously, the more brains your team has in that final round, the more chances you have of winning the £1,000. So the first head-to-head battle will be on the subject of entertainment. Now, Motormen, which one of you, because it's your choice, dare to take on an Egghead in this category?
Go for it. Yeah. Go for it. Who will we take on?
OK.
Yeah?
Alan C.
Alan C.
Alan C. OK, Alan, now, you have decided to go first with this. You also have the choice of which Egghead you think might be vulnerable on the category of entertainment. Who do you think you can beat?
I'll take on Chris.
Chris. OK, Chris. Tell me, you are, of course, won Mastermind, International Mastermind. What was your favourite specialist subject?
Well, it has to be British steam locomotives. 1900 to 1968 to sort of eliminate all the obscure Victorian stuff and the post-68 preservation scene.
And where did you get that interest from?
Don't want to sound too pretentious here, but the steam locomotive, it's got to be the most intellectually and I'll say the word emotionally satisfying man-made synthesis of the 4 elements of ancient philosophy: earth, air, fire and water.
And here you are on Eggheads.
Here I am on Eggheads, yeah. Not that I'm driving
fast-forwarding
trains
a bit.
anymore.
And glad we are to have you with us, Chris. OK, Alan, you've decided to take on Chris. And just to ensure that there's no conferring between your teammates who remain here in the studio with us, would you please take your positions in the question room for us? Now, Alan and Chris, I'll ask each of you 3 multiple-choice questions on entertainment in turn. Whoever answers the most questions correctly is the winner. It's that simple. Now, Alan, it's your choice. Would you like to go first on this round or second?
I'll go first, please.
What was the name of Michael Jackson's pet chimpanzee? Was it Biggles, Bubbles or Bobbles?
It was Bubbles.
That's the correct answer. OK, Chris, the Motormen have gone 1 up. Let's see if you can equalise. Which supermodel lost a high-profile court case against the Daily Mirror in 2002? Was it Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss or Christy Turlington?
That was Naomi Campbell.
Your teammates are nodding in unison. You are, of course, right. It was Naomi Campbell. 1-1. Second question for the Motormen. Who played the Sheriff of Nottingham in the 1991 film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? Was it Ian McKellen, Alan Rickman or Anthony Hopkins?
It was Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman is the correct answer. Put you 2-1 in the lead, Motormen. Well done. Chris, your second question. The musical Kiss Me Kate was written by which songwriter? Was it Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, or George Gershwin? Who wrote Kiss Me Kate?
That's Cole Porter.
You are, of course, right. It was Cole Porter. Chris, 2-all. That puts the ball back in your court then, Alan. Who played Ernst Stavro Blofeld in the 1969 James Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service? Here are the choices: Donald Pleasance, Charles Gray, or Telly Savalas.
I think it was Telly Savalas.
Well done, you. Now, Chris, get this one wrong, and you've lost, and you won't be able to play in the final round. Which American television presenter and businesswoman was charged with fraud in June 2003? Was it Martha Stewart, Oprah Winfrey, or Ricki Lake?
I'm not sure of this, Dermot, but I think it's Martha Stewart's been in the news recently, so I'll go with Martha Stewart.
Eggheads?
Yeah, that's right.
Eggheads say you're definitely right. My card says you're definitely right. It's 3-all. Well done, Chris. You've leveled the scores, which means we move on to sudden death. And just to make it that bit harder, these questions will not be multiple choice. And it falls to you, Alan. Blonde on Blonde and John Wesley Harding are albums by which American singer?
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan is correct, and very well done to you. You're out, Chris, if you get this one wrong. At the 2003 Oscars ceremony, which author and filmmaker controversially referred to George Bush as a fictitious president?
I honestly don't know, Dermot. I'm going to have to give the challengers best on this one. I honestly don't know.
You're not going to try a guess, Chris?
Sam Mendes.
Well, hanging your heads there, the rest of the Eggheads team. What is the answer?
Michael
Moore.
Michael Moore. Michael Moore, Chris, have you heard of him?
Oh, of course.
Oh, dear.
Stupid white men.
Well, fantastic. Alan, you've beaten an Egghead. Well done indeed, Alan. Will you come back and join your teammates? So, as it stands, the Motormen have not yet lost any brains from the final round, whilst the Eggheads have lost one of theirs. Now, the next subject is history, and who from the Motormen will be playing in this round? Which one of you would like to have a go? And, of course, it can't be Alan.
I'll do it, Dermot.
Yeah, go, Paul.
So that's Paul. Who would you like to take on from the Eggheads?
CJ.
Right, Paul, you've decided to take on CJ. CJ, how are you at history?
Well, I haven't lived through that much of it, so we'll have to see.
But, Daphne, would you have fancied a go at this?
Oh, I love history.
Oh.
Yeah, you rotten.
So, Paul, you might have got it right. OK, well, Paul and CJ, to ensure there's no conferring, once again, would you please take your positions in our question room? Paul, as the challenger, would you like to go first, or let CJ take the honours?
First, please.
The American Jenny Jerome was the mother of which British Prime Minister? Was it Churchill, Baldwin, or Macmillan?
It's a bit of a hard one, but I'll have to go for Churchill.
You are right, Paul. Well done. 1-0 to you. It was, of course, Winston Churchill had an American mother. CJ, your first question. Which organisation was set up in 1864 at the behest of the philanthropist Henri Dunant? Was it the United Nations, the Red Cross, or the RSPCA?
Well, I believe the United Nations was 20th century, so I'll take a 50-50 between the other two. Do I go for the RSPCA or do I go for the Red Cross? Let's go for the RSPCA.
Kevin?
No.
No.
Red Cross.
They're telling me here, your other eggheads are telling me here it's the Red Cross. And they're right, and you're wrong, CJ. And Judith, of course, you'd have known this when you won £1 million on a history question.
Yeah, I did know this one.
Yes, OK. 1-0 to the Motormen. OK, Paul, on to your second question. On which island was the explorer Ernest Shackleton buried in 1922? Was it Elephant Island, St Helena, or South Georgia?
Well, I don't believe it's South Georgia, so I'm with CJ on his one. I'm a 50-50 between St Helena. That's Napoleon, surely. I'll go with Elephant Island.
Paul, the answer, I'm afraid, is South Georgia, where Ernest Shackleton was buried in 1922. Your chance to redeem yourself, CJ. Which art historian, the surveyor of the Queen's pictures for over 25 years, was exposed as a Soviet spy in 1979? Was it Kim Philby? Was it Anthony Blunt? Or was it Guy Burgess?
It was Anthony Blunt.
Anthony Blunt is the correct answer. You have redeemed yourself, CJ. Paul, which English port was built on the site of the Roman city of Clousaintum? Was it Dover, Southampton, or Plymouth?
Well, I'm thinking Southampton. I don't know why again, but I'm thinking Southampton. And I shall go with Southampton.
You are right. Your first thought in that case, Paul, was the right one. Put you 2-1 up. Means you win if CJ gets this one wrong. CJ, the strict disciplinarian Draco, from whom we derive the word draconian, was the legislator of which Greek city in the 7th century BC? Was it Athens, Sparta, or Knossos?
I have absolutely no idea. Let's go with the old 50-50. Let's go with Knossos.
Well, that would be a 33% correct. Maybe
well,
your
I
eggheads can do
really
the
think
maths
it's
better than I,
Athens.
but it's 1 of 3.
I don't really think it's Athens, so, but it's a complete guess. I'm going with Knossos.
So you're guessing between Sparta and Knossos. Any of you eggheads know the correct answer? Because that's not it.
Athens.
Athens. Right, so the one you eliminated first was wrong, which also has eliminated you, CJ. You're out. You've lost the round. Well done, Paul. Just 2 eggheads gone after 2 rounds. Congratulations. CJ, Paul, please come back and join your teams. As it stands, the Motormen still haven't lost any brains at all from the final round, whilst the Eggheads, of course, have lost 2 of their key brains. Now, the next subject is sport. Who from the Motormen will be playing in this round?
Yeah.
Chris.
Chris, you've decided to have a go at this one. Right, you've been choosing your targets very, very well indeed. Let's see if you can find the weaker link when it comes to sporting prowess from the Eggheads. Who do you think might not be so good at it?
Yeah.
I'll choose Judith, please.
Judith. Can't remember your millionaire performance. Did you have any sporting questions on that?
I had a little question on the tug of war,
Well, I suppose that counts.
which I got right.
Do you have a sport that you follow or play?
No,
Do you have a sport that you watch?
no.
You must watch a bit of Wimbledon.
Oh, yes, I do. I watch Wimbledon. Yeah, that's about the only thing, though.
OK, so it's Chris against Judith on sport. To make sure you don't confer with any of your teammates, will you please take your positions in the question room, please? Chris, as the challenging team, would you like to go first or second on this round?
I'll go first again.
Who was the first bowler to take 300 Test match wickets? Was it Fred Truman, or Gary Sobers, or was it Dennis Lilly?
Go Fred Truman.
I can tell you it is the correct answer. 1-0 to the Motormen. Judith, your first question. What was the name of the boat in which Ellen MacArthur set her round-the-world sailing record in 2000? Was it Kingfisher, Puffin, or Flamingo?
It was Kingfisher.
OK, I didn't need to read it out twice. Chris, it's a form of transport, I suppose. You do a bit of boat spotting as well as the train spotting?
Well, I was never a train spotter. That's a pejorative term, but...
Well, yeah, it just means looking at trains.
Yeah, I'm fairly well up on sort of maritime history. And of course, there was an A4 Pacific called Kingfisher as well, 60024.
Right, well, before we get any deeper into that, let me tell you, Judith, that is correct. That's 1-1. So, Chris, your second question. What is the only one of the 4 major tennis titles that has never been won by Pete Sampras? Is it the French Open, the Australian Open, or the US Open?
French.
Yes, you're right. It was the French Open, the only one of the 4 majors that Pete Sampras did not win, which puts you 2-1 in the lead. Judith, your second question on sport. Who scored Arsenal's only goal in the 2003 FA Cup final? Was it Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, or Robert Pires?
I think it was Thierry Henry.
Did you watch the game?
No.
CJ, are you a football fan?
Not in the slightest, but I know it's not right.
You know it's not Thierry Henry. Who is it then?
It's Perez.
Judith, by giving me Thierry Henry as the answer there when it was in fact Robert Pires, I think we passed a moment in history. You got 15 straight questions right on Millionaire. You won yourself that £1 million. This is the first time you've got a question wrong on television.
I'm afraid so.
Well, Judith, you've got that one wrong, which means, of course, that the Motormen are 2-1 up. Chris, now, if you get this question right, you've won the head-to-head. Which former middleweight boxer became the WBA heavyweight champion by defeating John Ruiz in 2003? Was it Felix Trinidad, Bernard Hopkins, or Roy Jones?
Roy Jones.
Motormen, some of you are nodding, some of you are looking a bit apprehensive. Do you think you've knocked out the third egghead in a row?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But you know, you just have. Chris, that was a boxing question, and the knockout blow has put Judith Keppel out of the final round. Well done, you. So as it stands, Motormen, you still haven't lost any brains at all from the final round, whilst the Eggheads have lost 3 of theirs. So the last subject becomes all the more crucial before we move on to our final round. That is geography. Motormen.
Sorry, I followed.
Kevin.
Yeah, we'll have Kevin.
Kevin. OK, right. Well, you've got a choice between Kevin or Daphne in terms of who you want to take on from the Eggheads. Which one do you think might just have a chink in their armour on this one?
Kevin against Kevin.
2 Kevins, shall we? 2 Kevins. The 2 Kevins, please.
Yeah.
So Kevin against Kevin in this round on geography. How does that feel? Are you any good at it?
It's a reasonable subject for me. I wouldn't say it's one of my strongest, but it's a good enough subject, I hope.
You know, Chris here's won International Mastermind. You won Mastermind. Why didn't you go on to have a go at International Mastermind?
It had finished by the time I won in '95. I think it was in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, the International one came to an end.
Yeah, 83 was the last one.
Yeah, 83, which Chris won, was the last one, which is why he's still the International Mastermind.
So Kevin against Kevin in this round on geography. Would you please take your positions in the question room for us? Right, Kevin from the Motormen. Would you like to go first or second?
I'll stick with a theory and go first.
Which motorway runs between Liverpool and Manchester? Is it the M27, the M62, or the M85?
I would say it's the M62.
Correct. 1-0 to you. OK, Kevin, 3 of your teammates have gone. Let's see if you can stay in the game. Your first question on geography. La Scala is an opera house in which Italian city? Is it Milan, Rome, or Turin?
Milan.
Don't need to read that out twice. Then it is Milan. Well done, Kevin. 1-1. OK, Kevin from the Motormen. Your second question on geography. The island of Zanzibar is part of which African country? Tanzania, Sudan, or South Africa?
I think it's got to be a complete guess and say Tanzania.
Eggheads?
My guesses didn't work like that.
They certainly didn't, did they, CJ? It is the right answer. Motormen, you're 2-1 up. Right, pressure on you, Kevin. Falter here, and the ball is in the Motormen's court. Your second question. The Menai Strait separates Britain from which island? Is it the Isle of Wight, Jersey, or Anglesey?
Anglesey.
We're not really phasing him, are we, Eggheads?
No, you won't.
He's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. That is, of course, the right answer. That levels it at 2-all in this round. Well done, Kevin. Let's move on to the motormen then. Right, your third question. In Western Australia, what is the Fremantle Doctor? Is it a river, a wind, or a mountain?
It's a wind.
Motormen satisfied with that?
Definitely.
It is correct. That's 3 out of 3. Puts you 3-2 in the lead. Eggheads, if you get this question wrong, you've lost the head-to-head. Kevin, which volcano is nicknamed the lighthouse of the Mediterranean? Is it Vesuvius, Etna, or Stromboli?
I'm not actually too sure on this one. I know it's not Vesuvius. So it's between the other two. Yeah, I'm not too... I've heard it before, but I'm not too sure of the answer. It is a bit of a 50-50. I'm going to go for Stromboli.
That's the correct answer. 3-all. The answer is Stromboli. That, therefore, moves us on to sudden death. No multiple choice on this, just straight questions. The first one to get the question wrong loses this round. Over to the motormen. Kevin, which island is the largest of the Scilly Isles?
Sark?
Motormen.
No.
No, he's wrong.
Where is Sark?
That's in the
Channel
Channel
Islands.
We think it's St Catherine's, don't we?
You think it's
St Catherine's.
St Catherine's? Eggheads?
Mary's.
St Mary's. Kevin, your teammates were right. Sark is not even in the Scilly Isles. The answer is St Mary's. St Mary's is the largest island in the group that makes up the Scilly Isles. Eggheads, now if you get this question right, you've won the head-to-head. Which former capital of ancient Egypt shares its name with a modern city in Tennessee?
Memphis.
It is the right answer, Kevin. Well done. Finally, the Eggheads have captured a category. So, Kevin, I never thought I'd be saying this, but the Eggheads, 4 rounds into the game, have won their first round. You've won your head-to-head and knocked your opponent out of the game. So, Kevin and Kevin, please come back and join your teams. So this is what we've been playing towards. It's time for the final round, which, as always, is general knowledge. But I'm afraid those of you who lost your head-to-heads will not be allowed to take part in this round. So Kevin from the Motormen and Chris, CJ and Judith from the Eggheads, would you please leave the studio? Well, Paul, Alan C, Alan N and Chris, you're playing to win the Motormen £1,000. Kevin and Daphne, you're playing for something, of course, which money can't buy, the Eggheads' reputation. Now, as usual, I'll ask each team 3 questions in turn, and this time the questions are all general knowledge, and crucially, you are allowed to confer, unlike the previous rounds. So this is it, Motormen. You're playing for £1,000. The question is, are your 4 brains, considerable as they are they better than the Eggheads' 2? So, Motormen, your choice. Would you like to go first or second?
We'll stick with first, should we?
Yeah,
We're going to stick with first.
Which form of therapy takes its name from the Japanese for finger pressure? Is it Reiki, Shiatsu, or yoga?
We're going to say Shiatsu.
Eggheads, do you think they're right on that one? They are, of course, right. Puts you 1-0 in the lead. The answer is Shiatsu. It is Japanese for finger pressure. 1-0 to you, one step closer to that £1,000. The people who may deprive you of that, there are 2 of them, Kevin and Daphne from the Eggheads. Your first question. In the Bible, who succeeded Moses as the leader of the Israelites? Was it Joshua, Isaac, or Abraham?
Joshua.
Definitely.
Yes, you're right. So there it is, 1-1 in the final round. Still looking at £1,000 if you keep getting the questions right, Motormen. Your second question. The word ovine specifically relates to which animals? sheep, cows, or pigs?
Sheep. Bovine is cattle and porcine is pigs.
OK.
Yeah.
Sheep's your answer, and sheep is the correct answer. 2-1 to the Motormen. Now it's beginning to get interesting. This question very important for you, as you know, Eggheads. Your second question. What type of mining is traditionally carried out in a stannery area? Is it coal, tin, or gold?
Tin.
Kevin, you're allowing Daphne to go for that, but you're agreeing with her.
Take it in turns.
Tin.
Yes.
It is correct. That's 2-2 in the final round. Stannery is referring to tin. I think you've got to get this one right, Motormen, to keep a glimpse of that £1,000. Who was made the patron saint of politicians in the year 2000? Was it Thomas More, Francis of Assisi, or Jude?
Francis of Assisi, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll say Jude.
We're going with Jude.
OK. Kevin and Daphne, what do you think about that?
Thomas More.
Thomas More. Although Jude would be appropriate in a way because he's the patron saint of lost causes. But we think it's Thomas More.
You think it's Thomas More. In that thought, you would have been right. Motormen, you're wrong, which means it gives the Eggheads, gives Kevin and Daphne a chance to steal this round. Of course, it is the final round, and deprive you, after doing so well, of the £1,000. But it isn't over yet. They've got to get this question right to win the round. OK, it all hangs on this. Kevin, Daphne, Romansh is one of the official languages of which European country? Is it Italy, Switzerland, or Spain? Romansh.
Switzerland. Switzerland.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Daphne, you happy with that?
Yes, very happy.
I can tell you your teammates are pretty happy. They're not allowed to take part, of course. You're telling me it's Switzerland. To win the game, to win the final round, it is indeed Switzerland. That's it. The Eggheads have won. Salvaged their pride. Chris, CJ and Judith looking very happy indeed after faltering at their hurdles. Commiserations to you, Motormen. The Eggheads have done what comes naturally to them, and they still reign supreme over Quizland. I'm afraid you won't be going home with the £1,000, which means that the money rolls over to the next show. Eggheads, congratulations. Can anyone beat you? That's the question. Well, join us next time to see if the new challengers have the brains to defeat our Eggheads. £2,000 says they can't. Goodbye.
I've got 8 O levels, 3 A levels, 1 S level, and a BA honours degree in modern history.
I went to UCL and did history of art and history.
I have a degree in English and Theatre Studies.
7 O levels, 2 A levels.
4 measly O levels, which are all I was allowed to sit in the summer of '63. Thank you very much, British education system.